All right, folks, welcome back to Zip It Up Pod. This is our second episode of the year. If you joined us last week, thank you for listening. That was just to give you some off-season updates and talk about some things, kind of get caught up because we took 2 months off, but now we are back and we are full sending it all the way from now through Homestead. I almost said Phoenix, but all the way from now through Homestead, we are going to be releasing episodes weekly, I'm pretty sure. So, welcome back again. I have a very fun episode planned. I am looking forward to doing this one. And so I hope that you enjoy it as much as I have been planning for it. Hope it comes out right. And yeah, if you like it, I would love to hear that feedback and would love to see you all share it with your friends, your NASCAR buddies. But let me go ahead and preface this episode. There we go again with the clearing of the throat. So let me preface this episode by informing you how it's going to go. Everybody knows right now that there's a trend going around on social media, the internet. Everyone's posting pictures going back to 2016. I'm going to be honest with you. Nobody cares to see my pictures from 2016. I have not participated in the trend yet. I don't know if I will. Probably not. It's too late now, right? But our podcast is going to participate in the trend. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewind 10 years from today, which would be January 21st, 2016. That's the episode that you're going to get of Zip It Up Pod. Now, obviously, Zip It Up Pod was not a thing, but we are going to record a podcast today as if it is the year 2016. So to get a good understanding of what we're doing, I'm going to do a little transition. We're going to keep this thing rolling, and I'm going to give an episode as if we are in between the 2015 season and the 2016 season. So just coming out of a championship at Homestead, Miami in 2015. And then, taking some time off, January 2016 rolls around. We're starting to feel good, brand new season is starting up. So that's the podcast you're going to get today. Hopefully it makes more sense as you listen along. I'm going to try not to break character. I have been kind of planning and outlining and rehearsing, things that I want to say. And so I have an idea how I want this to go. I don't know if I'll be able to hold it together all the way through. We'll see. I'm going to try my best, though. I think we'll pull it off. But yeah, I am just going to go ahead and get us started, I think. And we're going to time travel. We're going to rewind the clock back a little bit. And so if you would, let's travel back to 2016. Hey, what's up? All right. Off to a great start, right? Welcome to the Zip It Up Pod. I am your host, Daniel Kozy. Boy, what a season we just came out of. 2015 Sprint Cup season is done and over. And it's January 2016. It is time to look ahead at brighter days to come. You know what I'm saying? Before we do anything, though, let's get into our drink tonight. I do have the Silver Bullet in my hand tonight. Coors Light. Such a great beer these days. Probably should have put it in the koozie before I popped that open, but got the good old Jeff Gordon koozie. Wow. Let's go ahead and raise our drinks. Whatever you're drinking, please raise your drinks where you're at right now and drink along to this episode. To our guy, the GOAT, Jeff Gordon, just finished his full-time racing career. Incredible career. I'm actually going to touch on it a little bit more in length in a few minutes, but not enough great things to say. This is the guy that got me into racing. I consider him my hero, and unfortunately, his racing days are over, and he's moving him to Fox Booth. So we're NASCAR fans. We're still going to get some Jeff Gordon, but it kind of kills me. It pains me right now to know that he will not be racing anymore going forward. So we're going to raise our drinks to the GOAT, kid Jeff Gordon. Cheers. That is delicious. But I'm also 24 years old, and I'm new to beer. So not as delicious as I thought it would be. Um, if you're just now joining us, I want to introduce myself to you. Like I said, I'm Daniel Kozy. I'm 24 years old. Imagine that. The driver of the 24 just finished his career the year that I turned 24 years of age. Divine. Um, anyway, I am currently in my first year of marriage. Have a lovely wife, and right now, it's just us. We actually just had our first Christmas morning together a few weeks ago, and that was really cool. Really great experience to not only go to bed together, but wake up the next morning together and just do our thing. It's just us right now, and we know kids are somewhere down the line, 3 or 4 years from now, probably. But right now, we just want it to be us. We just want to enjoy our time together, and that's been really special. So, yeah, right after Christmas, we went to Jacksonville and got to see my dogs play against Penn State in the Tax Slayer Bowl. And, yeah, pretty sure we won. In fact, I know for sure the Georgia Bulldogs won. So that was kind of the highlight over the past couple weeks. And, yeah, um, 2015, just, wow. Attended several races for Jeff's final season. So, it was really cool, seeing all the different tracks, just kind of do their salute and honor Jeff Gordon, and just to be in person at several of them was really neat. I don't know if there will ever be a day where I go to more races than I did this year. I think it was about 4 races I went to this year. That's that's pretty high in my book. But now we're just getting ready for the Daytona 500, right around the corner, coming up next month. The Daytona 500 is my favorite race, so I am counting down the days already. I cannot wait. I'm never going to miss this race. Um, I mean, they're going to have to kill me to keep me from missing the Daytona 500. In fact, I think I'm pretty sure everybody in the world will have to get insanely sick and lock me inside my house, in order for me not to make the Daytona 500. So I just never, I wouldn't, there's not a world that exists. And I love this race. Can't wait to keep going back for many, many years. Um, Anywho, like I said, Daytona 500 is coming up. Big names. This is when the celebrities come out for NASCAR. So we actually have John Cena as the pace car driver. And, he's probably, I think John Cena is going to wrestle forever. Well, if he doesn't wrestle forever, I think he's at least going to entertain forever. Dude is an entertainer. He is on his way to being the GOAT, is what they're saying. I'm not a huge wrestling guru, but, I'm a fanatic. Everything's sports, so I pay attention a little bit. It's going to be really cool having John Cena drive the pace car in Daytona. And then also, Florida Georgia Line are going to be performing the pre-race concert. Really looking forward to that. I think that there's a great chance that Florida Georgia Line goes down as the best country duo of all time. Maybe the best duo, any genres of all time. They just need to stick together. They are peanut butter and jelly when they're together. Nobody likes jelly by itself. Got to have peanut butter. So, really stoked to get a pre-race concert from them. That is a redneck's dream, what we're about to see next month. So looking forward to the Daytona 500. But before I get into too much NASCAR today, we are going to do a little 2015 recap. We'll do a little 2016 preview. Before I do that, I want to hit on some subjects that are popular right now. Pop culture, if you will. So, we are coming into an election year. It's 2016, and it looks like the USA is going to have its first female president, unless Trump gets the upset. So, going to be really interesting to watch this race. I'm sure we're going to have several heated debates throughout the year, and it is shaping up to be Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, and will be very interesting to see what that holds for our nation going forward. But obviously, election year, that's one of the biggest news stories coming into the new year. Nope. I was talking about Florida Georgia line a second ago. I'm a big music buff, so I wanted to hit on some music topics that I'm noticing right now to start the year. So obviously, you know, a lot of artists are breaking through and breaking out. I wanted to mention two of them to you, okay? First one, Ariana Grande. I'm listening to the radio every day, and she's got a lot of hit songs coming out one after another. And I didn't realize how skinny she was. I saw a picture of her the other day, and that girl is skinny. She's breaking out right now in the music scene. She's got hit after hit, but we're going to need to introduce her to donuts because she cannot afford to lose any more weight. That girl is tiny. So yeah, hopefully someone can get a hold of her and start feeding that girl so that she can have a long career. But secondly, my guy Nick Jonas, he seems to be doing really well without his brothers right now. The Joe Bros just split up in a couple years ago. I think it was 2013, and it seems like there was only one good Jonas brother, Nick. Obviously, he is earning a lot of success on his own, and so I think, just my opinion, the Joe Bros might be dead. I think he's good enough without them. I think he was carrying them all this time. Um, I don't really see a need for them to get back together. It's cool because they're bros. I'm sure they'll do, a fill-in concert here and there, but there's just no reason for them all to get back together again and start making new music and touring again one day. So that would just be kind of wild. But, who knows? Never say never. Okay. But all right, that's enough music talk. Y'all came here for a NASCAR pod, so let's get right into it. As you can tell, I'm delaying, I'm stalling a little bit. Really don't want to talk about it, but first topic was Jeff Gordon's final season. Wow, I can't believe it's over. Just 2 months ago, we were in Homestead, Miami for his final race. That was an incredible day that I will never forget. I'm going to live long to tell that story. In fact, you can probably come back to another episode and hear the story. I'll probably share it 1,000 times. So I'm not going to share that story today. That'll be, different story for a different pod another day. But wow, chills all day long, knowing that I was at my hero's final race in NASCAR. Cannot wait for the day for him to get inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I will not miss that ceremony. I'll be the first one there. Just well earned, well deserved. Guy is the GOAT in my eyes. Obviously, not everyone thinks that, but I do believe with all the success that he's had in the sport and the way that he changed the sport and the new viewers and the eyes that he got onto the sport and brought into the sport and made it mainstream, just incredible career. Can't say enough about the guy. But, he finishes his career with 93 career wins. Here in 2015, he only had one win. That was at Martinsville a couple weeks ago to couple months ago to lock himself into the championship for. So he was actually racing for a championship at Homestead. It was just a great ending, kind of like Peyton Manning did, or is doing. Um, so anywho, you know, goats are going out on top and they're fighting for championships on their way out. That's just how the legends do it. But he'll finish as a 4-time champion. Yep. Got that hat right before Homestead actually. And like I said, just no more full-time racing. I'm afraid we're never going to see him in a race car again, and I've come to accept that. But I'll take the shocking surprise of a lifetime if we do ever see him get behind the wheel again. And he's set to join Fox in the booth. So coming up here in a couple weeks at Daytona, he is going to be in the booth calling races for all the broadcasts that are on Fox. And I'm eager to see maybe how long he does that for, if he's any good. Obviously, I think he's going to be great at everything he does. Anything he touches is gold in my eyes. So I'm sure he'll do just fine. But how long is he going to do that for? And I'm also very interested to see if he continues any type of role with Hendrick Motorsports moving forward, whether it be immediate or later on down the line. He has such a connection and so many ties to this race team, this organization. I can't imagine that he's going to venture out to any other teams. He's a Hendrick guy through and through for life, and so that's going to be interesting to see if he'll come back and remain with Hendrick Motorsports at some point and step into some role. I don't know. I might be a fortune teller, but it would be cool. So, just an idea, Jeff. Anywho, um, we just saw Kyle Busch win his first championship at Homestead, Miami. And, it's taken him a while to break through. Obviously, this was not a championship for Hendrick Motorsports, but it is a big news topic. This is a guy that got injured the first race of the season in Daytona, missed the next 11 races, came back, and has gone on an incredible run to win his first championship, which was well earned as well. Well as well. Gosh, I hate saying things like that. Anyway, he he'll be looking to go back to back this year. He is now the new Sprint Cup champion and is going to be the only guy in the series with a chance to defend his championship. So kudos to Kyle Busch, former Hendrick driver, now turned Joe Gibbs. I'm pretty sure he's gonna, yeah, he'll definitely finish his career with Joe Gibbs Racing. There's no way he um, goes anywhere else. He's got it made over there. He's got that first championship. He'll probably win at least one or a couple more, but he's definitely going to finish his career at JGR and probably end on a high note one day. He's going to have a ton of wins and he'll probably enter the GOAT conversation as well. He's very talented, just has never been able to put it all together until this year. He did it. So congratulations to KB. Rowdy Nation, right? Gosh. Um, Anywho, let's go ahead and look at the Hendrick Motorsports 2015 Sprint Cup season. Just kind of reviewing how each of the teams did. I already mentioned, Jeff Gordon in the 24 car did have just the one win. He ended up finishing third in the point standings. That was in that final race. It was just really great to see him go out on a high note, racing for a championship. Gave himself a chance. But one of the coolest things from his final season was he won the last Daytona 500 pole, and he got to lead the field to the green flag in his final Daytona 500. So, um, not really a reward, but a cool moment, no doubt, as he and Jimmy were on the front row coming to the green flag of his final Daytona 500. Just special, special moment. Speaking of Jimmy Johnson in the number 48 car, he had 5 wins this year, which is a great season for most drivers. Jimmy standards, I don't know if it was a great season. It was just kind of so-so. But 5 wins. The reason it doesn't feel like it was an excellent season is because the guy finished 10th in the point standings. So, got to be better than that. I don't know how much more time he's going to have in the sport, but yeah, hoping to see him kind of rebound. If he could mirror 5 wins again, that would be great. We just need him to do a little bit better in the playoff run because we've gotten so used to that. We're very accustomed to seeing that 48 car be lights out in the playoffs, and that was not the case this year. Next up, we got Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the number 88 car. Pretty good season. He had 3 wins, and he finished 12th in the points. This was his first season with crew chief Greg Ives, and I gotta say, I think it was a successful season. Um, he spent a bunch of time with Steve Letarte. Steve kind of hit the road. They bring in Greg Ives, and we see Junior win 3 races, 2 of them on plate tracks, and then I think he won Phoenix. Could be wrong about that. The season just happened, so my memory's a little bit uh, crazy right now. Off-season memory, whatever you want to call it, off-season brain. But yeah, overall, it was a good season, a good, successful first season with a new driver and crew chief combo. All right, something to build on, no doubt. Then we have Casey Kane in the number 5 car. Casey had a rough season, no wins, and only 3 top 5 finishes. That has got to improve. That was really bad, just kind of lacking. Casey's a lot better than that. The 5 team is a lot better than that. So that was painful to see him finish 18th in the point standings. So he ends up missing the playoffs. And he was second. Top 16 make the playoffs. He finished 18th. So he was the second guy left out. And we're going to need to see him revive his, I don't know if you want to call it his career, but he's going to have to rebound and get some things going in the right direction. He has no momentum for that entire team right now. So moving forward, we really just need to see any kind of positivity from the 5 car. But we'll talk about that in a moment. I'll get to it, I promise. But the last driver we need to talk about was our part-time driver, Chase Elliott, in the number 25 car. He only made 5 starts this year in the Sprint Cup Series. And in those 5 starts, don't expect much. He had 3 top 20 finishes, but his average finish was 26.2. And really, the big takeaway is what he did in his full-time ride in the Xfinity Series. He did finish second this year in the point standings to Chris Buescher after just having won the Xfinity Championship last season in 2014. So, 2014, he won that one pretty convincingly, came back, won a couple races this year, but finished second. And Christopher Buescher, or Chris Buescher, whatever his name is, actually won the championship this year. So we're going to see both of those guys elevated to Cup rides this year. And so, yeah, really looking forward to seeing what Chase will do with Hendrick Motorsports. But that is all that I have for you on the recap. We're going to just go ahead and jump right into our 2016 Sprint Cup season preview. And let me first inform you that Hendrick Motorsports right now has 11 championships. We are looking for a 12th. So, big season ahead. Been stuck on 11 since Jimmy last won in 2013. So now I'll just go kind of driver by driver, and yeah, we'll give a little season preview, what lies ahead. Let me get this pouch. If I were to break character, it might be right now, because I don't think that these were a thing back then, but we're going to have it anyway. Yeah. Okay. And we back. So let's go ahead and discuss Jimmy Johnson back in the number 48 Chevy. This guy is a 6-time champ, and he's looking for number 7. He's just one behind Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt Sr. If he can win a championship here to finish out his career, that would be special. It'd be a 3-way tie at the top. Or if he can go ahead and get one quickly, maybe he can go on and try some more for an 8th championship. But who knows? Kind of feels like he's running out of time. I'm the type of guy that I'm a never say never kind of guy. So I think he has just a little bit of time left to get the 7th championship. Just don't know if he will. Really feels like whatever he and Chad did for such a long time feels like it's running out, but they've had so much success together. You can't split them up. I don't think you should ever split up Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus. You got to let these guys go for a 7th championship, and they got to finish their careers together. Just all the success they've had, you got to let them keep running it back as long as they want to until they're done. So, I don't think, if I was either one of them, I wouldn't want to go learn a new driver, or I wouldn't want to have a new crew chief. So I don't think that they're ever going to split up, and that's okay by me. We'll see if anything develops, though. Looking forward to seeing a rebound year from the 48. Remember, they just finished 10th in the points. Time to finish a lot better than that. Okay. Next up, we got Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in the number 88. Now, we mentioned his first season with Greg Ives was a success. But now, as they enter year 2, can they elevate that success? Can you build off it? Let that success be the bar. You've set the bar now. Can we build off of that? That's our foundation, stepping stones towards a championship possibly. Again, Junior seems to be one of those guys that might be running out of time. So if there was ever a time to do it, it's coming off of a 3-win season with your new crew chief. Go build off of that, and let's make some let's make some waves, huh? So next we got Casey Kane back in the number 5 car. Look, this season is pretty plain and simple if you ask me. You got to win races. Got to make the playoffs. His driver's seat is currently the hottest seat at Hendrick Motorsports. He cannot be doing this no wins in 3 top 5s anymore. That does not meet the Hendrick Motorsports standard. And look, he's one of my favorite drivers. He's talented as all get out, but he's going to need to step up the performance, and it needs to start soon with that number 5 team. So going to be watching that, obviously, very closely this year. And then last but not least, the new guy joining the fold, Chase Elliott, will be in the 24 car. I don't know if he will ever replace Jeff Gordon, but he is going to bring a new spark and a new life to the team. I really think so. I'm looking forward to it. Very excited to see this kid drive. We've seen him in Xfinity now for 2 years, and he looks incredible. So how's that going to translate in Cup? It's great that he's already had a few starts to get his, get a little experience under his belt, but now he's hitting it full time, and he's got Napa Racing on board with him. It's cool to see them on his car as a primary sponsor, and hopefully we get to see that for years to come. It's great to have them in the sport. So, really, he's only 20 years old. We need to be patient with him, give him some time. But I think he has a chance to do some special things early in his career. So, he's in a unique category entering the Cup Series when he is, because Jeff Gordon just left. Tony Stewart's about to enter his last season. We'll discuss that in a moment. So we're seeing veterans leave the sport, and it's time for these young drivers to come in and fill in, kind of replace it at best. And I think there's some pretty good young talent out there. So obviously Chase Elliott is in that category, but I would also put Chris Buescher in there with them. Just won the Xfinity Championship. Um, I would put Ryan Blaney in there. Good young driver. Is kind of buds with Chase Elliott racing together, during their childhood. And also can't leave out Kyle Larson. That kid has all the talent in the world. Um, we just probably, I don't think he's on the right team right now. I really think if we can get him over to Hendrick Motorsports at some point in his career, he's probably going to bloom into Jeff Gordon 2.0. I don't know for sure, but that kid looks talented. Maybe is going to be Chase Elliott's biggest rival going forward. We've already seen Larson in a couple, full-time seasons, maybe just one full-time season. Maybe he just finished his rookie season in Sprint Cup Series. But, just really feel a little bit different about Kyle Larson going forward. So, it would be really neat to see Chase go out there and put the 24 car back on the front row for the Daytona 500. That's going to be like his first opportunity to kind of raise everybody's eyebrows and wow people coming up here shortly in the next couple weeks. So that would be special, having the last driver of the 24 lead the field to green, and then the first or the next driver of the 24 lead the field to green in the Daytona 500 would be kind of neat, and we'll see how that goes. As I was just mentioning, though, a second ago, Tony Stewart is entering his final season, another Hall of Fame driver, legend, going to be sorely missed, no doubt. He is exciting. Smoke, man, still looking for that first Daytona 500 win. All the races he's won at Daytona, but never won the Great American Race itself. So that's what I'm watching for here in the next couple weeks as well. So many storylines around that race every year. But, hope to see him have a better finish than he just did in 2014. I think he was like in the 30-something in the point standings, like 32nd maybe. So really bad year. And I don't expect him to be a championship contender. But if he can go out there, win a race or two, and go out on a high note, that would be really cool for a legend of NASCAR. So, man, that's really everything that I got for you today. Obviously, come back, keep listening. We're going to have more for you. But as for today, that wraps up our episode. And, I hope to see you next time. All right. And just like that, we back. Thank you for listening to that. I don't know. I have my first initial feeling is that it was fun. It was interesting. It was different, unique. Hopefully it goes over well. I think it was all right. But it was fun. It was fun to reminisce, go back 10 years and think about where we were, with NASCAR, but also Hendrick Motorsports and where we were in the world at the time. Very neat to think about. I actually got the idea from a different podcast I listened to this past week. And so I wasn't trying to steal their idea, and it's not a NASCAR podcast. So we might be the only NASCAR podcast doing this trend. But I was like, man, that's a great idea. I had something else in the works for this episode this week. But when I started really digging deep, thinking about the transition between 2015 to 2016, I was like, man, I got to capitalize on this and see if I can pull it off. So let me tell you what actually ended up happening later down the line in 2016. So Chase did become the youngest pole sitter in Daytona 500 history. He put that car on the front row. That was kind of a moment as a fan. I was a fan of his. Jeff Gordon recommended that we stick with the 24 car. This kid was going to come in and not so much replace him, but he was going to fill the shoes pretty well. And so when Chase put the car on the front row and won that pole for the Daytona 500, I was pumped up. I was like, this is my guy. And yeah, he won me over very quickly, sealed that up. Also, later that season, Jimmy Johnson ends up winning 3 of the last 7 races, and he gets his 7th championship, which was Hendrick Motorsports' 12th championship at the time. So 2016, I can remember where I was when he won the race. It was at Homestead, but I was in the car driving home from Georgia. We went to Georgia for a Georgia Bulldogs game that weekend, and we were driving back on Sunday so that we could go to work on Monday. And I didn't even remember that 10 years ago you could watch TV on your phone, but you could. And I was sitting in the back seat of my parents' car while they were driving, and we watched Jimmy win. And then Dale Earnhardt Jr. ended up having some concussion injuries in the 2016 season. So that actually got him out of the car. And when Jeff Gordon was done with the Fox broadcast, he had a lot of time on his hands, apparently. And he stepped in. Jeff Gordon ended up driving in 8 more races that season, filling in for Dale Earnhardt Jr. So, yeah, those were the highlights from 2016. Obviously, we see how it's all played out since then. I'm not going to go into depth on that. But yeah, really fun to think about where things were and how they ended up turning out. And so, with that being said, we're going to wrap things up. But I do want to tell you, coming up this weekend, we do have the Rolex 24, Daytona International Speedway. I think there's like 60 cars in the race. I could be wrong about that number, but it's pretty close to 60. So this past weekend, took my family out to the Roar before the 24, which is, if you've never done the Roar or the Rolex, the Roars are a great way to be introduced to that style of racing, and also the energy and the hoopla around the event. The Roar is just a chance for those drivers and teams to go out and test and practice their equipment and kind of get used to everybody and used to how the Rolex weekend will go. So, I mean, you get really great access, and you can walk right there in the garages. You can pretty much touch the cars, man. There ain't nothing keeping you from getting anywhere, pretty much. You could do it all. So, snapped some really cool pictures that day and actually got to meet um, Connor Zilisch, Jordan Taylor, and James Hinchcliffe. So really need to meet those drivers, world-class drivers. I have a feeling we'll be talking about Connor Zilisch for a long time. I obviously am a big fan of Jordan Taylor. One, because he's a great driver, especially within his specialty of what he drives. He is always competitive. Sorry, I met my quota for tonight. But Jordan Taylor is an Orlando resident, Central Florida guy. In fact, I think he's still in Winter Park, which is 15 minutes from me. So it was cool. Years ago, we saw him at a burger joint, and actually had on some Chase Elliott gear that night. Never said anything to him that day, but I did this past weekend. Got a picture with him, and and he actually filled in for Chase in the 9 car. I think it was the UniFirst paint scheme a couple years ago when we raced at Coda, and showed a lot of speed that day. Jordan Taylor is a talented race car driver. There's no doubt about that. Rodney Sandstorm, if you will. Me and Rodney have a lot of we got a lot in common. And then, of course, James Hinchcliffe, great IndyCar driver and down-to-earth guy. He also hosts a podcast, I think, right now with Alexander Rossi, who is my favorite IndyCar driver. So, yeah, really neat to meet those guys and see them up close within all the action this past weekend. But the big weekend is coming up, Rolex 24. So it's one of my favorite weekends of the year because there are so many great late night sports. You not only have the Rolex 24 going on all night throughout the night, um, you'll be able to watch it, I think, on Peacock. It'll be on NBC for the times and periods that they're airing on live television. But whenever it's not on NBC, you will be able to stream it on Peacock. And so that's what I end up turning my TV on. I might just sleep on the couch and stay up all night and watch it. But also, you got the Australian Open going on, which usually those matches don't happen, till 9 o'clock or so at night over here, because it's in Australia. So I need to wrap this up. So you got that going on late night as well, and then Winter X Games. I don't pay attention to X Games throughout the year, but I do watch Winter X every year, all weekend long. I'll pay attention. I don't know any of the competitors year to year, but it's just really fun to watch because I live in Florida where we get no snow, and I get to see these guys on the mountain do tricks and stuff, and that's usually one of those late night TV programs too because it's going on over in Aspen, and they're 2 or 3 hours behind us, so their prime time is my nighttime. So, I'm gonna wrap it up there. As you can tell, my voice doesn't have anything left, and we've had our episode exactly what we wanted to do. Come back next week, though. Next week is another big episode that I've been planning for quite some time, and I actually, I kind of teased it last week. Had some buddies that I reached out to helping me promote the episode that I will record and release next week. So, really looking forward to the week ahead. And after that, it's pretty much like all previews leading up to the Daytona 500. And then we're back to your regularly scheduled programming on Zip It Up Pod. So y'all stick with us. Y'all have a good week. And yeah, see you again next week.